All right, things went wonky. I've started a new stream because everything went wonky there for a second. Hopefully everything goes back to normal and you guys can all connect to this one. Let me just message some Owl folks. We'll see how things go. All right, we got one person connected. Thank you for coming back. Hopefully everybody else makes it back. Apologies to everyone. Just messaging Owl folks. The joys of technology and Wi-Fi. Yes. We'll see how things go. All right. Well, we're down to one person back. We had 8 or so people before, so hopefully y'all can find us again. We'll give it a few minutes, and then I might reread all the Tolkien questions. We were on section 3 of the first round. Again, for anybody who needs the Google Docs form, it's linked in the chat. Sorry for all the weirdness. Apparently, it is just not my night for technology. It's weird that our stream was arguably more reliable, maybe, when I was standing on a street in front of the Owl last month. But we'll see. We'll see how things go. Hopefully everything goes smoothly from here on out. I'm just going to wait until people connect again. And we'll do a little Instagram video in case anybody is checking in on there to see what the heck just happened. Hey folks, everything went wonky over on the YouTube Wise Owls Pub Quiz. Apologies for that. I've started another stream, so if you go to the library's YouTube page, you should be able to join up there, and we should be good to go again for the next part. Yes, there we go. Library social media in action. Check on the Facebook stuff now. See if we can connect over there as well. So many things to keep track of. I've got 2 of you back. Excellent. 2 of you back. Hopefully one of you is the Owl and the other is the other people, but trying to get everybody back. Which means I have to go back to the Wise Owls post on Facebook, which is always a thing. So many things to scroll through. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. So apparently the Owl is still connected to the old feed. Hopefully they'll pick up the new feed. Going back and forth, texty with people over there, just to see what's happening, see if we can get connected again. Apologies, as always, for the Wi-Fi issues. And for me, staring at my phone while you guys watch me stare at my phone while I try to get things up and running all over again. All right. I'm going to just check in on the Wise Owls Pub Quiz link, event, thingamajig. Oy, oy, oy. All right. Okay, we're up to 4. We're down to 3. I said we were up to 4 and promptly somebody left. It's probably because it looked like it was just me sitting silently in my living room in front of books. All right, the Owl is back in business. Hopefully we'll pick up a few other folks. I'm just going to see what I can do. Checking on various things. And just checking to make sure. I'm not sure what happened with the other video. Things went wonky, and I think we're kind of back on here, but I think I may have lost some other players, which is less than ideal. Tricky things. All right. Okay, we're back up to 5 or so. All right, we're working at the Owl, working with a few people. All right. Yes, if you know other folks who are playing and need to watch the broadcast, do please send them this new link, because things, my Wi-Fi connection decided to go and disappear. And it's back working now, and hopefully things will stay solid for the rest of the time. But yes, should things go wonky again, I will probably have to start a third stream, because it's just kind of a gong show. Good old YouTube and Wi-Fi and technology and whatnot. But it means we can all play from different parts of the city and or the world, so huzzah for that. Okay, I'm going to start at the top of the Hobbit section. So again, September 22nd is Hobbit Day. Celebrate as you wish. And here are some Hobbit questions. Number 1, according to Tolkien, what happens to trolls when they are exposed to daylight or sunlight? What happens to trolls, according to Tolkien, when they are exposed to daylight? That's number 1. Hobbit question number 2. I think this is about where things went wonky. What is the name of the inn at Bywater where Bilbo rejoins the dwarves? What is the name of the inn at Bywater where Bilbo rejoins the dwarves? All right. Number 3. What does Bilbo name his sword, which he later passes on to Frodo? What does Bilbo name his sword? And then he later passes that sword on to Frodo. What is the name of that weapon? All right, we're back up to six people watching. Hopefully, that's most of the people who were watching before. Hopefully, those who are playing are not, just sadly crying to themselves at a blank screen of the old stream. We'll see. All right, question number 4 for hobbits. Where would you find Smaug's lair? Where would you find Smaug's lair? Looking for where the actual cave is. So the Dragon's Cave is actually where? Like more specific than like Middle Earth, basically, is what I'm looking for that one. Where would you find Smaug's lair? All right, and our final hobbity question. What is the answer to this riddle posed by Gollum? Alive without breath, as cold as death, never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mail, never clinking. What is the answer to that riddle as posed by Gollum? Alive without breath, as cold as death, never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mail, never clinking. What is the answer to that riddle? All right. Any hobbity repeats? Any hobbit questions you need to hear again? For those of you who have rejoined us on kind of the third try, because I had one like scheduled for the live stream and that one wonky. So then I started number 1/number 2, and now we're on to number 2/number 3. Anyhow, we're here, we're live streaming. And if anybody needs to hear any Hobbit questions again, let me know. Hobbit question 1 through 5. And for those of you who, are doing okay with the music and whatnot, with the questions, not the music. We're doing okay with the questions. If you got all your questions in, hit the submit button at the bottom of the Google form whenever you are done, because what that does is it drops it into a lovely little spreadsheet that I'm going to go mark now. I'm going to go, put on my quasi-teacher hat and go do some marking, hopefully without screwing up this whole live stream thing. I'm going to leave you to kind of peruse the bookshelves while I go do that. I was going to play some local music via my phone, but I'm a little afraid to double up on the use of my Wi-Fi right now because of what happened earlier. I don't want things to go kablooey again. So I'm going to just kind of leave you in silence here, staring again at the bookshelves, and Bill the crocodile, who's providing some lovely cushion support for me. But yes, when you are all done, it doesn't look like anybody needs any Hobbit questions repeated. It looks like we're okay for that. Hit the submit form at the bottom of the Google Doc. That will also then give you the link to the next Google Doc, which I'll throw into the comments once I'm back in case anybody misses it. But yes, hit the submit form. I'm going to go mark some stuff. Talk amongst yourselves. Taking my water with me. All right. The goal is to get back over here without tripping over the very wacky setup I have in my living room. All right. I'm back. I have scores. Y'all did pretty well. Pretty well. Any comments? Somebody pretty sure they got every Apple question wrong. Well, you know, the thing with Wise Owl's pub quiz, it being a library program, when you get a question wrong and then I give you the right answer later, that's when it becomes a lifelong learning program. And we fulfill part of our library mandate. So, you know, it's all good. You'll learn something cool, hopefully. Or you know everything already, which, spoilers, no team knows everything already. All right. So, I'm just trying to think, how do I usually... Yeah, it's a little different than normal because usually I give you answers, you mark, and then I just do numbers. So we're going to start with answers, and then I will give you scores. So back to September. The question number 1, the first Black Miss America was Vanessa Williams. The singer-songwriter who had 35 singles on the top 10 of the Billboard Country Western bestsellers chart with Hank Williams. Unintentionally, 2 Williamses. Question number 3, Baz Luhrmann's trilogy is known as the Red Curtain Trilogy. Red Curtain Trilogy. Number 4, the renowned German director is, of course, Werner Herzog. Probably saying his name wrong, whatever. Number 5, the first Occupy Wall Street protest ended up at Zuccotti Park. Zuccotti Park. All right, apples number 1, the dessert where it's caramelized and then flipped is a tarte tatin. Tatin was the hotel. The number 2 question, the analogy, apples are to cider as pears are to perry. Cider made with pears is called perry. Just like solid pears is perry. 2018 was the year that the Gala apple took over from the Red Delicious as the most produced apple in the US. Number 4, the Normandy brandy is Calvados. Calvados is the apple brandy from Normandy. And number 5, apples and pears is slang for stairs. It's always the last word that rhymes. Apples and pears is stairs. All right, Hobbit answers. According to Tolkien, I think all of you got this right, trolls turn to stone when they're exposed to daylight. Number 2, nobody got this one. The name of the inn at Bywater is the Green Dragon. The Green Dragon. The Prancing Pony is from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Green Dragon is from The Hobbit. Number 3, Bilbo names his sword Sting. Sting is the name of that sword. Number 3, Smaug's lair is under the Lonely Mountain. Under the Lonely Mountain, which is the one that's all off on its own on the edge of the lake. Hence lonely. And number 5, alive without breath, as cold as death. Never thirsty, ever drinking, all in mail, never clinking, is a fish. All right, so answers there. Hopefully, you know, either feeling good about your answers or you're learning something. Either way is a good thing. All right, and scores. We will just go bottom to top because that's how we usually do it. So with 1 point, we have Pink Wits. 3 points to Nerds of a Feather. 5 points to the Wiggleworms. 6 points to the Einsteins and You're a Quizzard Harry. 7 points to the Cunning Stunts. And 8 points to the Barley Mowats. And 11, I'll double check this, 11 points to the Waterfowl Warriors. Yes, so we have quite a range of scores on my lovely little score sheet, which means it's time for round number 2. Let me grab you all the link in case you missed it on the hooray, you're done round 1 sort of part of the form. Just got to bring that up in another window. Grab the URL. And I'm going to just drop it into the chat here. There we go. So round 2 form is the thing that I just put right there. All right, so if you need the link to round 2's answer form, it's there in the chat. And here we go. Question rounds, round 2 questions. Here we go. September is Classical Music Month, which normally I would play you a round of music that's all classical pieces and make you like name a composer or something like that. Because we're broadcasting via YouTube instead of just playing music in a bar, the YouTube bots get fussy about things, so I'm being very careful with what sort of music I broadcast over the YouTubes. So I'm not going to play you classical music, but I am going to ask you questions about classical music. And in this, actually, classical composers. Composer question number 1. I'm just imagining groans emanating from various points of the bar right now. Question number 1. What composer wrote a symphony in which the musicians stop playing one by one and leave the stage until only 2 are left? Which composer wrote a symphony in which the musicians stop playing one by one and leave the stage until only 2 musicians are left on the stage at the end? Apparently I'm getting groans and glares from the owl crowd. Which is fine. I'm cool with that because, per one of the usual Wise Owls pub quiz rules, the person on stage, which is now the person with the crocodile pillow, is always right. Always right. All right. Composer question number 2. What renowned 19th century pianist, composer, and teacher became known as the Queen of the Piano during a successful recital career lasting more than 60 years? So we're looking for the name of the renowned 19th century pianist, composer, and teacher who was known as the Queen of the Piano and had a successful recital career lasting more than 60 years. What is her name? All right, question number 3 for composers. Which contemporary composer wrote a piece consisting entirely of silence? So not really classical, but it's a good question, so I threw it in. Which contemporary composer wrote a piece of music consisting entirely of silence? Name that contemporary music composer. All right, number 4. Which medieval composer and mystic was declared a saint of the Roman Catholic Church by Pope Benedict XVI in 2012? Which medieval composer and mystic was declared a saint of the Roman Catholic Church by Pope Benedict in 2012? What was her name? I'll give you that as a hint, though it probably won't help. But you never know. Maybe that's all you needed to twig you onto the answer. This woman was a composer and a mystic, and she was declared a saint of the Roman Catholic Church in 2012 by Pope Benedict. What was her name? The other hint is it's kind of a kick-ass name. All right, number 5. Which composer's 6th symphony features the ringing of cowbells off stage? If I ever get to play in a symphony, I hope it's this one and I get a cowbell. Which composer's 6th symphony features the ringing of cowbells off stage? Not enough cowbells in, classical symphonies, really. It's just, I think it's safe to say that. Probably a pretty rare thing. All right. Would anybody like to hear any of those composer questions again? More cowbell, indeed. All right, question number 1 again, and number 5. So number 1, what composer wrote a symphony in which the musicians stop playing one by one, then leave the stage until only 2 musicians are left? That was number 1. Number 2, what renowned 19th century pianist, composer, and teacher became known as the Queen of the Piano during a successful recital career lasting more than 60 years? And number 5, the cowbell question. Which composer's 6th symphony features the ringing of cowbells off stage? All right. If we're good for repeats, then I think we will wrap up the composer category, remembering, of course, that it is Classical Music Month, so go listen to some classical music sometime before the end of the month. So from there, we move on to Egyptian mythology and history for the next section. Egypt question number 1. In Egyptian mythology, who was the wife of Osiris? According to the ancient Egyptians, who was the wife of Osiris? Question number 2 for the Egypt category. The Great Pyramids of Giza consist of how many pyramids? In the Great Pyramids of Giza, how many pyramids are there? It's a lovely little arrangement, lovely large arrangement of pyramids. How many pyramids are there in the Great Pyramids of Giza? Gotta say, I enjoy questions now that have a number for the answer because they're very easy to mark. All right, question number 3 for Egypt. The Egyptians believed the god Anubis weighed what body part after death to decide whether the deceased would be allowed into the afterlife? Egyptians believed the god Anubis weighed a body part after death to decide whether the deceased would be allowed into the afterlife. Which body part was weighed? All right, Egypt question number 4. Ancient Egypt was partially responsible for the earliest recorded and surviving peace treaty, which was between Egypt and what group of people? Egypt question number 4. Ancient Egypt was responsible for the earliest recorded and surviving peace treaty, which was between Egypt and what other group of people? All right, question number 5 for the Egypt category. Which female pharaoh had the longest reign? Which female pharaoh reigned the longest time? All right, some shorter questions there for the ancient Egypt category. Which of those ones would you like to hear again? For the Egypt category, do we need to hear any other questions repeated or any of the questions repeated? Not sure if the number 4 there is a request for this category or the last one. Just in case, Egypt number 4 was, ancient Egypt was responsible for the earliest recorded and surviving peace treaty It's on display at the UN headquarters. The earliest surviving peace treaty, which was between Egypt and which other group of people? All right. Any repeats for the Egyptian category? Let me know in the comments if you need to hear any of those again. And if not, if you guys are good for ancient Egypt history and mythology, then we're going to move on to an actual music category. We're going to try this. If it all goes pear-shaped and I have to start a new stream, a third stream again, it'll be on the library's main YouTube channel. But I'm hoping this works. I'm hoping the Wi-Fi behaves itself, and the music that I've chosen should be YouTube bot friendly. We'll see how this goes. All right, so music category. These are all from Sean Verow of Widemouth Mason, who plays a lovely slide guitar. And I'm gonna just give you all his Instagram, because this is where I'm using it from. I did ask him if I could, and he said for sure. So if you want to, not now, but later, and besides they're kind of buried, so hopefully you wouldn't be able to find them. Later on, if you want to listen to any of Sean's slide guitar covers, which will make up this next portion of the evening, do go check him out. It's SV_trislide on Instagram. And all right, here we go. So I'm going to play you a song. It's a cover on slide guitar as performed by Sean Verow. And you are going to tell me the original artist of the song. So we'll see how this works. Me holding my phone up to, I don't know, maybe up here or something. All right. Number one. I don't actually know where the microphone is on this thing. I think it's up here. Somebody can let me know if you can even hear this. That'd be awesome. And we're looking for the original artist of this song. All right, so that was cover song number one. Again, looking for the original artist. All right. Was that, did that come through all right? You guys were able to hear that? Hopefully. All right. If not, let me know. And we're going to go to number two. Sorry, cut out. Again, so that was number two. Here we go with number three. All right, so that was number 3. And we're going to go to number 4. All right, so that was number 4. And the last one, number 5. All right, so we had a request for number 4. So we'll go back to number 4 again. And number 1 and 2, this is numero 1. Number 2. I realized I could actually show you the videos now that I'm at the end of the round. Again, those are all from Sean Grove playing lap steel, slide guitar. He does this cool thing with like multiple slides on one hand, and all available on Instagram if you want to go look that up later on. Not now while we're playing, but later on. Again, looking for the original artist of all of those 5 songs. Any other ones that you need to hear again? How are we doing for repeats on this category? We did number 4. We did number 1. We finished with number 2. Any other ones? Looking good? Put comments. All right. Again, once you are done, this is section or round 2. Hit that submit button at the bottom. I think it's submit. It might be another verb of that ilk. Hit that button at the bottom. It'll populate to the spreadsheet. I'm going to go over there, mark some stuff, and then I will be back with some numbers and some answers. Talk amongst yourselves. Alrighty. I'm back. I have numbers and I have answers. Very interesting. Very interesting, all of you. Okay. So, starting with classical composers and the answers section for that. The composer who wrote a symphony where the musicians stop playing and wander off stage is Joseph Haydn. Composers 2, the queen of the piano was Clara Schumann. 3, completely silent piece was by John Cage. 4, the medieval composer and mystic was Hildegard von Bingen. Again, delightful name. And number 5, the Cowbell Symphony is by Gustav Mahler. All right, Egyptian mythology and history. The wife of Osiris was Isis. The Great Pyramids of Giza, there's 3 of them. Number 3, the Egyptians believed the god Anubis weighed your heart after death. Number 4, the earliest recorded surviving peace treaty was between the Egyptians and the Hittites. And number 5, the female pharaoh with the longest reign is Hatshepsut. And I am probably saying that completely wrong. Hatshepsut. I'm going to stop while I'm only slightly behind. All right, and the musical round as provided by Sean Burrow on slide and steel guitar. First one, original by CCR. Second one, original by the Beatles. Third one, originally by Simple Minds. Fourth, originally by Bob Marley. And the fifth was originally by Simon and Garfunkel. So that concluded the answer portion for round 2. And now some scores. So updated scores. Again, bottom to top, we're going to go to 3 points to Pinkwits, 6 points to the Wiggleworms, a whole bunch of you with 13 points, the Einsteins, Nerds of a Feather, You're a Quizzard Harry, and the Cunning Stunts. All of you have 13 points going into the third round. The Barley Mowats sit at 17, and the Waterfowl Warriors are currently at 19. So that is where you stand going into the third round. I'm going to grab you the link just in case anybody missed it on the end of the last form. And then we'll move into round 3. Once the Google Doc gets itself going. Anytime now. Here we go. It's doing a thing. All right. So again, for any of you who need the form link for round 3, there you go. That is the link for the round 3 answer form. At which point now we are going to move on to said round 3. All right, so we're going to start with a round that is purely for science questions. But I called it for science because it makes me laugh. All right, science question number 1. What does USB stand for when used to describe the connection standard used between computers and smartphones and their devices? What does USB stand for when used to describe the connection standard used between computers, smartphones, devices, etc.? What does USB stand for? Sciencey question number 2. ZR is the symbol for which chemical element? ZR is the symbol for which chemical element? Floof on the screen. All right, again, number 2, we're looking for the chemical element that is symbolized by ZR. ZR. Science question number 3. In which modern-day country was the physicist and chemist Marie Curie born? In which modern-day country was chemist and physicist Marie Curie born? Where was Marie Curie born? Which country? These are the sorts of science questions I ask because there's not a lot of quibbling for the answers. I used to ask more interesting / complicated science questions, but then the science people in the audience got all fidgety about answers and my answers. So no more tricky science questions, just this type of science question. Science question number 4. Which is the largest internal organ in the human body? For number 4, we're looking for the largest internal organ in the human body. The human body's largest internal organ. All right, and science question number 5. What type of creature is a barramundi? A barramundi is what type of creature? And as always, if you would like to hear any of these science questions repeated, let me know. I feel like I blasted through those kind of quickly. So let me know if you would like to hear any of the science questions again, and I will repeat them for you. Are we good for science questions? Feels like we are probably okay for the science question. We're doing all right. Okay. So that's going to bring us to a slightly more pop culture-y type series of questions. This one is all about movie costume design. So I'm going to ask you some questions about movie costumes, or rather, I'm going to give you a description of iconic movie costumes, and you're going to tell me what movie that costume featured in. All right, so I'm going to give you a costume description. You are going to write down the name of a film. Okay, clear as mud? That makes sense? All right. Movie costume number 1 features a yellow cardigan, a yellow plaid suit with a short skirt, and white knee-high socks. A yellow cardigan, a yellow plaid suit with a short skirt, and some white knee-highs. What movie featured someone wearing that costume? Picture that in your mind's eye. A yellow cardigan, some white knee-highs, a yellow plaid suit with a short skirt. What film comes to mind? Costume design question number 2. Black suits, white shirts, black ties, sunglasses, and black fedoras. The harmonica is a bonus. Black suits, white shirts, black ties, sunglasses, black fedoras, and maybe a harmonica. What movie featured costumes like that? All right, costume design number 3. A long red sequined dress, a short curly wig, and some big 80s glasses. A long red sequined dress with long sleeves, also sequined, and red. A short curly wig, and some very big 80s glasses. Maybe 70s glasses. 75 to 85 as the fashion decade kind of went. A long red sequin dress, a short curly wig, and some massive glasses. Which movie featured someone wearing that costume? All right, costume number 4 is a green cheerleading outfit, trimmed out in red and yellow stripes, with the word clovers across the top. A green cheerleading outfit with red and yellow trim and the word clovers across the top of it. What movie is that costume from? And the final film costume for this evening, a blue gingham pinafore over white puff sleeves with blue hair ribbons and some red shoes. A blue gingham pinafore over white puff sleeves, with blue hair ribbons and red shoes to finish off the outfit. What film was that costume featured in? All right. Any of those costume descriptions you'd like to hear again? Do you need any mental picture refreshes with the wording? What would you like to hear again? Any repeats for the costume design category? The second of 3 in the final round of the Wise Owls Pub Quiz for September 17th. Number 1. So for number 1, it was a yellow cardigan under a yellow plaid suit with a short skirt and some white knee-high socks. Yellow cardigan, yellow plaid suit with a short skirt, and white knee-high socks. Any other costume repeats? That was number 1. Others that you'd like to hear again? Looks like we might be good. Going once, going twice. All right, onwards. Okay, onwards to the final section of the final round of this month's Wise Owls Pub Quiz, which is, as always, a general knowledge category. Question number 1 in general knowledge. How many Apollo missions landed on the moon? How many of the Apollo space missions landed on the moon? All right, general knowledge number 2. Which Greek deity, usually depicted driving a flying chariot, was immortalized with the Colossus of Rhodes? So name the Greek god, usually depicted driving a flying chariot, who was immortalized with the Colossus of Rhodes. Who was that Greek god? All right, number 3. In the Beatles song, Back to the USSR, what kind of girls really knock me out? In the Beatles song, Back to the USSR, they list off a whole bunch of different types of ladies. What type of girls really knock me out, according to the Beatles in the song Back to the USSR? I don't know if that counts as a geography question or not. I might not have done, did I do a geography? I might not have done a geography question this time, people. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm slipping. All right, number four. What was broken for the first time on May 6th in 1954 in Oxford, England? What was broken for the first time May 6th, 1954 in Oxford, England? It's a stealth obligatory sports question. All right. Number 5, the final general knowledge question for the evening. What is the common name for the flower that stems from the Persian word for turban? So the common name for which flower stems, the common name for which flower stems from the Persian word for turban? Which flower has a name that comes from the Persian word for turban? And any general knowledge question repeats. Any of those that you need to hear again before we move on to the final marking portion of the evening. All good? The knowledge was general enough that you don't need to hear it again? Or at least hear the questions again? Number 3. All right. Number 3 was, in the Beatles song Back to the USSR, what kind of girls really knock me out? Which girls are the Beatles referring to that really knock me out? Any other general knowledge repeats? Hopefully the rest of them made sense. You got them all? All right, hit those submit buttons on the bottom of the forms. I'm going to go add some more numbers to my big sheet of numbers right here. Figure out where everybody lands. Maybe we'll have a tie. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. I haven't actually prepared the mechanics for a tiebreaker. So if it comes to that, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Who knows? It could. Scores are kind of close. We'll see what happens. Should have thought that through earlier, just in case. All right. Okay, you guys are good for repeats. I'm going to go do some marking, and I'll be back in about, I don't know how long it took me last time. 3 minutes, 5 minutes? I'll be back in a little bit with final scores and answers. All right, I'm back. I have numbers. I have answers. All sorts of things. I have a top 3 for scoring teams. It's all very exciting. All right, answers first. We're going to go for some answers first here. So for science, we're going to start with some answers for science. USB stands for Universal Serial Bus. ZR is the symbol for zirconium. Number 3, Marie Curie was born in Poland. Number 4, the largest internal organ in the human body is the liver. Number 5, a barramundi is a fish. It's a fish. Which I had 2 Williams answers before, and now I'm realizing I had fish for 2 fifth answers of categories. So that's weird and wonderful. All right. Costume design questions. Number 1, yellow cardigan, yellow suit, etc. was from Clueless. Number 2, black suits, etc. from the Blues Brothers. Number 3, a long red sequin dress was from Tootsie. Number 4, a green cheerleading outfit from Bring It On. Number 5, blue gingham pinafore is from The Wizard of Oz. On to general knowledge. The Apollo missions, there have been 6 of them that landed on the moon. 6 of them landed on the moon. Not all involved walking on the moon, but 6 of them landed on the moon. Number 2, the Greek deity, usually depicted driving a flying chariot that was immortalized as the Colossus of Rhodes, was Helios. Helios is the one who drives the sun in the chariot and became the Colossus of Rhodes, or depicted as the Colossus of Rhodes. Back in the USSR, it's the Ukraine. The Ukraine girls really knock them out. Number 4, on May 6th, 1954, in Oxford, England, the 4-minute mile was broken. Somebody ran a mile in under 4 minutes. There we go. So that was the obligatory sports question in kind of a stealthy fashion. And number 5, the flower whose name stems from the Persian word for turban is a tulip. Tulip comes from the Persian word for turban. All right, so those are your answers for the last chunk of the quiz, which means I have scores, and thankfully there are no ties in the top 3, so I don't have to try to figure out how to do a tie-breaking question. I will have that figured out for next month, just in case. But again, all right, starting smallest scores to biggest scores. Pinkwits finished with 9 points. Congratulations. Then to the Wiggleworms with 14 points. Well done, Wiggleworms. Then we get a whole bunch tied at 20 points. The Einsteins, Nerds of a Feather, and You're a Quizzard, Harry all did very well with 20 points. But that brings us to our top 3 teams tonight. In 3rd place, we have the bar team, the Cunning Stunts, with 23 points. In 2nd place with 27 points, it's the Barley Moets. And consistently in 1st place throughout this trivia of September 17th, 2020, it's the Waterfowl Warriors with 29 points in 1st place. So bravo to all of you. Thank you all for coming out in whatever form you joined us tonight, whether it was at the Owl or like me from home via YouTube. It's always interesting and weird to do these library programs online, but we will be doing things like this, kind of a mix of online real life coming up in the next little while. So keep an eye out for that. There's also the Word on the Street Festival tomorrow and Saturday for most of the events, with a bunch of continuing events throughout the fall, so next week and into the fall as well. But the biggies are this weekend. So Friday morning is all of the children's authors. Friday afternoon, all of the teen or YA authors. And on Saturday afternoon, we have all of the grown-up authors presenting. They will be presenting via Zoom. You do need a ticket, but they are totally free. It's just so we can get people the Zoom links in an easy fashion. So if you go to thewordonthestreet.ca or if you go to lethlib.ca, there are all kinds of links for getting you Eventbrite tickets and getting you connected with those events. They are also all on Facebook. If you are a Facebook person, they are there. Look up the events and you can get your tickets directly that way. If you have any questions for that, hit us up on various social media and we can help you there. And Wise Owls Pub Quiz will return the third Thursday in October for another virtual pub quiz such as this. If you need more trivia in your life, I also do mini trivia, which is a shrimpy little version of this on Instagram live every Thursday night. Those ones are at 9 o'clock, whereas this one starts at 8 o'clock. Those ones are shorter. This one is longer, hence the time difference. So thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. Though it's strange not to see your faces, it's nice to see your comments and so forth in the chat. And I hope you all had a great time. Good night, friends. I will see you when I see you.